Introduction to Narrative Techniques. In the tapestry of literature, narrative techniques serve as the threads that weave intricate patterns, creating rich and engaging stories. These techniques are essential tools that authors use to shape the structure and delivery of their narratives, influencing how readers perceive and interpret the unfolding events. As we embark on this exploration of narrative techniques, we will delve into three key elements: point of view, foreshadowing, and flashback. Each of these techniques plays a crucial role in crafting a compelling narrative and enriching the reader's experience. Narrative techniques, an overview. At its core, narrative techniques encompass the various methods and devices that authors employ to tell their stories. These techniques include not just the choice of narrative voice or structure, but also how elements like time, perspective, and hinting are managed to create a cohesive and engaging story. They are the means by which writers manipulate their story's pacing, reveal character motivations, and build suspense. Understanding these techniques is fundamental to literary analysis because they provide insight into how stories are constructed and how they affect readers. Point of view, the lens of the narrative. One of the most significant narrative techniques is point of view, POV, which dictates the lens through which the story is told. The choice of POV profoundly influences the reader's experience and understanding of the narrative. There are several types of point of view, each offering different levels of intimacy and insight. First-person POV. This perspective involves a narrator who is also a character in the story, using I or we to convey their personal experiences and thoughts. This approach offers a deep, subjective view of the narrator's inner world, creating a close connection between the reader and the narrator. However, it can also limit the scope of information to what the narrator knows or experiences. Second-person POV. Though less common, this perspective uses you to address the reader directly, making them a participant in the narrative. This technique can create a unique sense of immediacy and immersion, but can be challenging to sustain over a long narrative. Third-person POV. This perspective is more versatile, including both third-person limited and third-person omniscient views. In third-person limited, the narrator focuses on the thoughts and experiences of a single character, providing insight into that character's internal life while maintaining some narrative distance. Third-person omniscient, on the other hand, offers a godlike view, with the narrator having access to the thoughts and feelings of all characters and knowledge of events beyond any single character's experience. Foreshadowing, building anticipation. Foreshadowing is another vital narrative technique that involves planting subtle hints or clues about future events in a story. This technique creates suspense and anticipation, drawing readers into the unfolding plot. By suggesting what might happen later, foreshadowing encourages readers to pay close attention to details and anticipate how events will develop. It enhances the depth of the narrative as the connections between hints and eventual outcomes become more apparent as the story progresses. Flashback, revealing the past. Flashback is a technique that allows the narrative to move backward in time, providing context and background that enrich the reader's understanding of current events. By revisiting past events, flashbacks offer insights into characters' histories and motivations, helping to explain their present actions and decisions. This technique adds complexity to the narrative, allowing readers to piece together how past experiences shape characters' present circumstances. The role of narrative techniques in storytelling. Narrative techniques are not mere embellishments. They are essential components of storytelling that guide how a narrative unfolds and how readers engage with it. By mastering these techniques, authors can craft stories that are not only compelling but also layered with meaning. As we delve deeper into each technique in the subsequent sections, we will explore how they contribute to the overall architecture of a narrative and enhance the reader's experience. In summary, narrative techniques like point of view, foreshadowing, and flashback are crucial in shaping the storytelling process. They provide the framework through which stories are told, influencing how readers perceive and connect with the narrative. Understanding these techniques enriches our appreciation of literature and our ability to analyze and interpret the stories we read. Understanding point of view. Point of view, POV, is a fundamental narrative technique that determines the perspective from which a story is told. It shapes how readers experience the narrative, offering different lenses through which the events, characters, and settings are perceived. The choice of POV influences everything from the level of intimacy with characters to the scope of information available to the reader. To fully appreciate how POV impacts a narrative, it's essential to explore its various types and their implications. Types of point of view. First-person POV. The first-person point of view is characterized by a narrator who is also a participant in the story, using pronouns like I or we. This perspective provides readers with direct access to the narrator's inner thoughts, feelings, and personal experiences. The intimacy of first-person narration can create a strong emotional connection between the reader and the narrator, offering a subjective and often more engaging portrayal of events. Advantages. The first-person POV allows for deep insight into the narrator's psyche, revealing their personal motivations and emotions. This can create a sense of immediacy and authenticity as readers experience events from the narrator's direct perspective. It's particularly effective for stories focusing on personal growth or internal conflict. Limitations. However, the first-person POV also limits the reader's understanding to the narrator's experiences and knowledge. Readers only learn what the narrator knows or chooses to reveal, which can restrict the narrative scope and create a narrower view of the story's world. Examples. Classic examples of first-person narration include J.D. Salinger's The Catcher in the Rye, where Holden Caulfield's personal reflections and voice dominate the narrative, and Harper Lee's To Kill a Mockingbird, where Scout Finch's perspective shapes our understanding of her childhood experiences. Second-person POV. The second-person point of view is relatively rare and involves addressing the reader directly using you. This perspective creates a unique, immersive experience by making the reader a participant in the story's events. Advantages. Second-person narration can engage readers in a distinctive way, making them feel as though they are part of the narrative. This perspective can enhance immersion and immediacy, often used in interactive fiction or experimental narratives. Limitations. Due to its unconventional nature, the second-person POV can be challenging to sustain over a longer narrative. It may also limit the depth of character development and plot complexity compared to other perspectives. Examples. An example of second-person POV is Jay McInerney's Bright Lights, Big City, which uses the you pronoun to place readers in the protagonist's shoes, creating an intimate and often disorienting experience. Third-person POV. The third-person point of view involves a narrator who is not a character in the story but rather an external observer. This perspective is divided into two main types. Third-person limited. In this perspective, the narrator closely follows one character, providing insight into that character's thoughts and feelings while maintaining some narrative distance. This approach allows readers to experience events through the chosen character's lens, offering a balance between intimacy and objectivity. Advantages. Third-person limited POV provides a focused view of one character's experiences while allowing for a broader narrative scope than first-person narration. It can build empathy and understanding while still retaining some narrative flexibility. Limitations. The main limitation is that readers are confined to the perspective of the chosen character and do not have access to the thoughts or feelings of other characters. Examples. J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series primarily uses third-person limited narration to closely follow Harry's experiences and thoughts, enhancing reader connection while maintaining narrative breadth. Third-person omniscient. This perspective features a narrator with access to the thoughts, feelings, and experiences of all characters in the story. The omniscient narrator knows everything about the characters and plot, providing a comprehensive view of the narrative world. Advantages: third-person omniscient POV offers a complete understanding of the story, including insights into multiple characters and subplots. It allows for a rich, multi-layered narrative that can explore various themes and perspectives. Limitations: the potential downside is that the omniscient narrator's broad scope can sometimes distance readers from individual characters as the focus shifts between different viewpoints. Examples: Leo Tolstoy's War and Peace is a notable example of third-person omniscient narration, providing an extensive view of characters and events across a vast narrative landscape. The influence of point of view on the reader. The choice of point of view profoundly impacts how readers engage with a story. It shapes their understanding of characters, events, and themes, influencing their emotional responses and interpretation. By carefully selecting and employing a particular point of view, authors can guide readers' experiences and enhance the narrative's impact. In summary, understanding point of view is crucial for analyzing and appreciating literature. Each perspective offers unique advantages and limitations, shaping how stories are told and experienced. As we explore further, we will examine how other narrative techniques, such as foreshadowing and flashback, complement and enhance the storytelling process. The art of foreshadowing. Foreshadowing is a subtle yet powerful narrative technique used by authors to hint at future events within a story. It functions as a precursor to significant plot developments, creating anticipation and suspense. By planting clues or suggestions about what is to come, foreshadowing prepares readers for upcoming events, enhancing their engagement with the narrative. This technique not only adds depth to the story but also enriches the reader's experience by encouraging them to actively participate in piecing together the narrative puzzle. Understanding foreshadowing. Foreshadowing involves the deliberate placement of hints or clues that suggest future events. These hints can be explicit or implicit, ranging from direct statements to subtle, symbolic elements that allude to future occurrences. The effectiveness of foreshadowing lies in its ability to subtly influence the reader's expectations and perceptions, without giving away too much information. Explicit foreshadowing. This type of foreshadowing involves clear, direct clues about future events. For example, a character might make an ominous statement or a narrative might describe a seemingly insignificant detail that later becomes crucial. Explicit foreshadowing provides straightforward hints that guide readers' expectations. Example: in Shakespeare's Macbeth, the witch's prophecy serves as explicit foreshadowing, hinting at Macbeth's future rise to power and subsequent downfall. Their foretellings create a sense of inevitability and anticipation throughout the play. Implicit foreshadowing. Implicit foreshadowing uses more subtle cues to suggest future events. This can include symbolic elements, recurring motifs, or foreshadowing through character behavior. The clues may be more obscure, requiring readers to connect the dots as the story progresses. Example: in J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, the recurring mention of the mysterious mirror of Erised subtly foreshadows its significant role in later books, where it becomes crucial to the development of key themes and character arcs. The role of foreshadowing in narrative structure. Foreshadowing enhances narrative structure by creating a sense of continuity and coherence. It helps to build tension and suspense, keeping readers engaged as they anticipate how the hints will unfold. By integrating foreshadowing into the narrative, authors can build suspense. Foreshadowing creates a sense of anticipation by hinting at future events. This builds suspense and keeps readers engaged as they look for clues and try to predict what will happen next. Example: in Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express, subtle foreshadowing throughout the narrative hints at the identity of the murderer, creating a sense of intrigue and allowing readers to engage in their own deductive reasoning. Enhance plot development. Foreshadowing helps to shape the plot by linking earlier events with later developments. It creates a sense of inevitability and coherence, making the story's progression feel more natural and satisfying. Example: in George Orwell's 1984, the seemingly innocuous details about the party's control and the characters' fears foreshadow the eventual revelation of the true extent of the party's power and manipulation. In rich thematic elements, foreshadowing can also be used to highlight thematic elements of the story. By suggesting future events or outcomes, it reinforces the themes and messages that the author seeks to convey. Example: in F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby, the recurring imagery of the green light at the end of Daisy's dock serves as a foreshadowing device that underscores Gatsby's unattainable dreams and the theme of the American dream's corruption. Analyzing foreshadowing in practice. To fully appreciate foreshadowing, readers should actively seek out and analyze the clues embedded within a text. Here are some strategies for identifying and interpreting foreshadowing. Pay attention to details. Look for recurring motifs, symbols, or seemingly minor details that might later become significant. These elements often provide subtle hints about future developments. Consider character statements and behavior. Observe characters' dialogue and actions for any hints or suggestions about future events. Characters may inadvertently reveal information that foreshadows key plot points. Examine the narrative structure. Analyze how foreshadowing fits into the overall narrative structure. Consider how the hints build tension and contribute to the story's progression and resolution. Practice exercise. To practice identifying foreshadowing, readers can select a text and highlight instances where future events are hinted at. Discuss how these hints contribute to the story's suspense and overall impact. Compare different examples to see how explicit and implicit foreshadowing function within the narrative. Conclusion: foreshadowing is a crucial narrative technique that enhances storytelling by creating anticipation, building suspense, and enriching thematic elements. By understanding and analyzing foreshadowing, readers can gain a deeper appreciation of how authors craft their narratives and engage their audience. As we continue to explore narrative techniques, we will see how foreshadowing works in conjunction with other techniques, such as flashback, to create a compelling and cohesive story. The use of flashback in narrative. Flashback is a narrative technique that allows a story to move backward in time, providing readers with insights into events that occurred before the main plot. This technique enriches the narrative by offering context, deepening character development, and revealing crucial backstory that influences present events. By transporting readers to earlier moments, flashbacks add layers of meaning and complexity to the narrative, enhancing the reader's understanding of characters and their motivations. Understanding flashback. Flashback involves interrupting the chronological flow of the narrative to revisit past events. This technique can take various forms, from a character recalling a memory to a more extensive narrative segment that describes past occurrences in detail. Flashbacks are used to reveal important information that impacts the current plot, helping readers make sense of characters' actions, decisions, and relationships. Purpose of flashback. The primary purpose of a flashback is to provide background information that explains why characters behave in certain ways or how past events have shaped their current circumstances. By presenting past events, flashbacks offer context that can clarify character motivations, illuminate themes, and enhance the overall depth of the narrative. Example: in William Faulkner's The Sound and the Fury, the narrative is fragmented and shifts between different characters' perspectives, including flashbacks that reveal the history and decline of the Compson family. These flashbacks are crucial for understanding the complexities of the family dynamics and the characters' present situations. Types of flashback. Flashbacks can vary in scope and execution, depending on their role in the narrative and the style of the author. Character-driven flashbacks. These occur when a character recalls a significant event from their past, often triggered by something in the present that relates to the memory. This type of flashback provides personal insight into the character's experiences and emotions. Example, in Marcel Proust's In Search of Lost Time, the famous scene involving the Madeleine biscuit triggers a flashback that immerses the protagonist in a detailed memory of his childhood. This flashback reveals the deep emotional connection to his past and highlights themes of memory and time. Narrative flashbacks. These are more extensive and involve detailed recounting of past events that shape the story's present. Narrative flashbacks may be woven into the story's structure or presented as separate sections, providing a broader context for the plot. Example, in Gabriel Garcia Marquez's Love in the Time of Cholera, flashbacks are used to detail the history of the protagonist's romantic relationship. These flashbacks offer insight into the development of their love over time, enhancing the reader's understanding of their enduring bond. Impact of flashback on narrative. Flashbacks serve several key functions in storytelling. Enhancing character development. By revealing characters' past experiences, flashbacks help readers understand their motivations, fears, and desires. This deeper insight makes characters more relatable and their actions more comprehensible. Example, in F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby, the flashbacks to Gatsby's past offer crucial information about his rise from humble beginnings and his pursuit of wealth and status. These revelations provide context for his obsession with Daisy Buchanan and his ultimate downfall. Providing context and backstory, flashbacks offer essential background information that shapes the current plot. They fill in gaps and explain how past events have influenced present circumstances, contributing to a more cohesive and engaging narrative. Example, in J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, flashbacks to key moments in Voldemort's past, including his creation of Horcruxes, are integral to understanding his motivations and the stakes of the final confrontation. Revealing thematic elements. Flashbacks can highlight central themes of the narrative by showing how past events resonate with current issues. They can illustrate how themes like trauma, loss, or redemption play out across different time periods. Example, in Toni Morrison's Beloved, the flashbacks to Seed's experiences as a slave are crucial for understanding the trauma that haunts her in the present. These flashbacks underscore the theme of memory and the lasting impact of slavery. Analyzing flashbacks in practice. To analyze flashbacks, consider how they are integrated into the narrative and their effect on character development and plot. Examine how flashbacks contribute to themes and whether they enhance or disrupt the story's flow. Discuss the timing and placement of flashbacks and their impact on the reader's understanding of the story. Conclusion. Flashback is a powerful narrative technique that provides depth and context to a story. By revisiting past events, flashbacks enrich character development, offer essential backstory, and highlight thematic elements. Understanding how to effectively use and analyze flashbacks enhances our appreciation of how authors craft complex and engaging narratives. As we continue our exploration of narrative techniques, we will see how flashbacks work in tandem with other techniques, such as foreshadowing and point of view, to create a multifaceted storytelling experience. The art of foreshadowing. Foreshadowing is a nuanced narrative technique that subtly hints at events yet to come, creating anticipation and building suspense. This technique allows authors to plant clues within the narrative that suggest future developments, thereby engaging readers and enhancing their investment in the story. By using foreshadowing, writers can prepare readers for upcoming plot twists, deepen thematic elements, and create a cohesive narrative structure. Understanding foreshadowing. Foreshadowing involves presenting hints or clues about future events in a story, which may be direct or subtle. These hints can come in various forms, including dialogue, symbols, or plot elements, and they serve to create a sense of anticipation. Effective foreshadowing enhances the reader's experience by providing a sense of coherence and rewarding readers who pay attention to details. Direct foreshadowing. This type of foreshadowing involves explicit hints or statements about what is to come. For example, a character might make a foreboding comment, or a narrative might describe an object that later becomes significant. Direct foreshadowing clearly signals future events and is often used to set up expectations. Example: in Shakespeare's Macbeth, the witch's prophecies are a form of direct foreshadowing. Their predictions about Macbeth's rise to power and eventual downfall create a sense of inevitability and anticipation throughout the play. Indirect foreshadowing. Indirect foreshadowing, on the other hand, involves more subtle hints. This can include symbolic elements, recurring motifs, or subtle references that become significant as the story progresses. Indirect foreshadowing requires readers to interpret clues and connect them to future events. Example: in J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets, the mysterious diary of Tom Riddle contains cryptic entries that foreshadow the unveiling of the true identity of the heir of Slytherin. The diary's peculiar nature and the hints it provides build suspense and engage readers in uncovering the mystery. The function of foreshadowing in narrative. Foreshadowing serves several important functions in storytelling. Creating suspense and tension. Foreshadowing builds suspense by hinting at future conflicts or outcomes. This sense of anticipation keeps readers engaged, as they are eager to see how the hints will unfold and what impact they will have on the story. Example: in Agatha Christie's Murder on the Orient Express, foreshadowing is used to subtly indicate the presence of the murderer among the characters. The clues and red herrings create a sense of intrigue, leading readers to actively participate in solving the mystery. Enhancing plot development. By providing clues about future events, foreshadowing helps to create a cohesive plot structure. It links different parts of the story together and makes the unfolding events feel more natural and inevitable. Example: in George Orwell's 1984, foreshadowing is used to hint at the eventual revelation of the party's true nature and the extent of its control over individuals. Early references to surveillance and manipulation set the stage for the novel's climax and thematic exploration. Deepening thematic elements. Foreshadowing can also reinforce themes by subtly suggesting how they will be explored or resolved. By hinting at future developments, foreshadowing highlights central themes and provides a deeper understanding of the narrative. Example: in F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby, the green light at the end of Daisy's dock is a recurring symbol that foreshadows Gatsby's futile pursuit of his dreams. This symbol underscores the theme of the American dream's corruption and the illusory nature of Gatsby's aspirations. Analyzing foreshadowing in texts. To analyze foreshadowing effectively, consider the following strategies. Identify clues. Look for elements in the text that hint at future events. These can include character statements, symbolic objects, or narrative details that seem to suggest what might happen later. Evaluate impact. Assess how the foreshadowed events influence the reader's experience. Consider whether the hints create suspense, deepen thematic elements, or enhance plot cohesion. Connect clues to outcomes. Examine how the foreshadowing clues align with the actual events that unfold. Evaluate how the hints contribute to the overall narrative structure and whether they provide a satisfying resolution. Practice exercise. To practice identifying foreshadowing, select a text and identify instances where future events are hinted at. Analyze how these hints build suspense and contribute to the story's thematic development. Discuss how effective foreshadowing enhances the reader's engagement and understanding of the narrative. Conclusion. Foreshadowing is a crucial narrative technique that adds depth and coherence to a story. By hinting at future events, foreshadowing creates suspense, enhances plot development, and deepens thematic exploration. Understanding and analyzing foreshadowing allows readers to appreciate the intricacies of storytelling and the skill with which authors craft their narratives. As we continue to explore narrative techniques, We will see how foreshadowing interacts with other elements, such as point of view and flashback, to create a rich and immersive reading experience. The influence of point of view on reader engagement. Point of view, POV, is a foundational element of narrative technique, profoundly influencing how a story is perceived and experienced by readers. By determining the perspective from which a story is told, POV shapes the reader's connection to characters, understanding of events, and emotional responses. Understanding the impact of different POVs is crucial for analyzing how narratives function and resonate with audiences. The role of point of view in shaping reader experience. Point of view determines the lens through which the story is presented, affecting readers' access to information and their emotional engagement with characters and events. Different POVs offer varying degrees of intimacy, insight, and attachment. First-person POV. The first-person perspective uses pronouns like I or we, presenting the story through the narrator's direct experience. This POV provides a deep, personal connection to the narrator's thoughts and emotions, creating an intimate and immersive experience. Emotional connection. First-person narration allows readers to experience events and emotions from the narrator's viewpoint. This can lead to a strong emotional connection as readers gain direct access to the narrator's inner world. Example: in J.D. Salinger's The Catcher in the Rye, Holden Caulfield's first-person narration offers a direct window into his troubled mind and personal struggles. Readers are immersed in Holden's perspective, fostering empathy and a deeper understanding of his experiences. Limitations. While first-person POV enhances intimacy, it also limits readers to the narrator's knowledge and perspective. This can create a narrow view of the story and restrict access to other characters' thoughts and motivations. Example: in Stephen Chbosky's The Perks of Being a Wallflower, the story is told through letters written by the protagonist, Charlie. While this offers an intimate glimpse into Charlie's life, it limits readers' understanding to his personal experiences and perceptions. Third-person limited POV. In third-person limited POV, the narrator is an external observer who provides insight into the thoughts and feelings of one character at a time. This perspective balances intimacy with a broader narrative scope. Character focus. Third-person limited POV allows for a focused exploration of a single character's experiences and emotions while maintaining some narrative distance. This can create empathy and understanding without the full immersion of first-person narration. Example: in J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series, the third-person limited perspective follows Harry Potter, providing insight into his thoughts and feelings while still allowing for a broader exploration of the magical world. Narrative flexibility. This POV offers flexibility in presenting the narrative from a single character's viewpoint while allowing the author to shift perspectives if necessary. It provides a balanced approach to character development and plot advancement. Example: in Susan Collins's The Hunger Games, the third-person limited perspective primarily follows Katniss Everdeen, offering insight into her experiences and emotions while maintaining a clear narrative focus on her journey. Third-person omniscient POV. Third-person omniscient POV features a narrator with complete knowledge of all characters and events. This perspective offers a comprehensive view of the story, providing insight into multiple characters' thoughts and motivations. Comprehensive insight. Omniscient narration allows for a detailed exploration of various characters and subplots, providing a rich and multifaceted understanding of the story. Example: in Leo Tolstoy's War and Peace, the omniscient narrator offers a sweeping view of the characters and historical events, providing a detailed exploration of individual experiences and the broader context of the narrative. Potential for distance. While omniscient POV provides extensive information, it can also create a sense of distance from individual characters. The broad scope of this perspective may reduce the emotional intimacy that other POVs offer. Example: In George Eliot's Middlemarch, the omniscient narrator provides insights into various characters' inner lives and societal dynamics, offering a comprehensive view of the narrative while maintaining a certain distance from individual experiences. The impact of point of view on reader engagement. Different POVs affect how readers connect with characters and events, influencing their emotional responses and understanding of the narrative. Intimacy and connection. First-person and third-person limited POVs create a closer connection between readers and characters, enhancing emotional engagement and empathy. Readers experience events through the characters' direct experiences, fostering a deeper understanding of their motivations and feelings. Suspense and mystery. POV can also influence the level of suspense and mystery in a story. For example, first-person narration can create suspense by revealing only the narrator's perspective, while third-person omniscient narration can build tension by providing insights into multiple characters' thoughts and secrets. Narrative structure. The choice of POV affects the narrative structure and flow, shaping how information is revealed and how plot developments are presented. Each POV offers unique advantages and limitations, influencing the overall storytelling approach. Analyzing the effectiveness of point of view. To analyze the effectiveness of POV in a text, consider how it impacts reader engagement, character development, and narrative structure. Evaluate whether the chosen POV enhances the emotional connection, contributes to suspense, and supports the overall narrative goals. Practice exercise. To practice analyzing POV, select a text with a distinct narrative perspective and examine how it shapes readers' experiences. Discuss how the POV influences character development, plot progression, and thematic exploration. Consider how different POVs might alter the story's impact. Conclusion. Point of view is a critical narrative technique that profoundly affects how a story is perceived and experienced. By shaping the lens through which events and characters are presented, POV influences emotional engagement, suspense, and narrative structure. Understanding the impact of different POVs enhances our ability to analyze and appreciate the intricacies of storytelling, providing valuable insights into how authors craft their narratives. The impact of foreshadowing on narrative structure. Foreshadowing is a sophisticated narrative technique that involves subtly hinting at future events within a story. This technique serves multiple functions in narrative structure, including creating suspense, enhancing thematic depth, and ensuring coherence between plot points. By weaving hints and clues into the fabric of the story, foreshadowing guides readers' expectations and deepens their engagement with the narrative. The mechanisms of foreshadowing. Foreshadowing works by planting early clues that hint at later events, creating a sense of anticipation and coherence within the story. These clues can be explicit or subtle, and their effectiveness depends on how well they are integrated into the narrative. Explicit foreshadowing. This form of foreshadowing provides clear hints about future events. These may include direct statements from characters, descriptive details, or overt plot elements that signal upcoming developments. Explicit foreshadowing helps to set up expectations and prepare readers for significant plot twists or revelations. Example: in Shakespeare's Macbeth, the witch's prophecies are a prime example of explicit foreshadowing. Their predictions about Macbeth's rise to power and eventual downfall create a sense of inevitability, influencing readers' expectations and understanding of the plot's direction. Subtle foreshadowing. Subtle foreshadowing involves more indirect clues that may not be immediately obvious. These can include symbolic elements, recurring motifs, or understated references that gain significance as the story unfolds. Subtle foreshadowing requires readers to pay attention to details and interpret their meaning in the context of the narrative. Example: in J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, the recurring mention of the Time Turner serves as subtle foreshadowing for its pivotal role in the story's climax. Initially, its significance is not clear, but it becomes crucial in resolving the narrative's central conflict. Foreshadowing and narrative suspense. One of the primary functions of foreshadowing is to build suspense by hinting at future events. This creates anticipation and keeps readers engaged, as they are eager to see how the hints will play out. Creating anticipation, foreshadowing generates excitement by suggesting that something significant is going to happen. This anticipation drives readers to stay invested in the story as they look for clues and try to predict the outcome. Example, in Agatha Christie's And Then There Were None, foreshadowing is used to build suspense about the identity of the murderer. The gradual revelation of clues and the characters' increasing sense of paranoia keep readers on edge as they try to piece together the mystery. Enhancing tension. By hinting at future conflicts or dangers, foreshadowing adds a layer of tension to the narrative. Readers are aware of potential threats or resolutions, which heightens the emotional stakes and deepens their engagement with the story. Example, in George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire series, foreshadowing is employed to hint at the impending conflicts and dramatic shifts in power. The early clues about characters' fates and the looming threat of the White Walkers create a sense of urgency and tension throughout the series. Foreshadowing and thematic development. Foreshadowing can also enhance thematic development by reinforcing central themes and motifs. By suggesting how themes will be explored or resolved, foreshadowing deepens readers' understanding of the narrative's underlying messages. Reinforcing themes. Foreshadowing can highlight key themes by hinting at their eventual exploration or resolution. This adds layers of meaning to the narrative and helps to integrate thematic elements into the story's progression. Example, in F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby, the recurring imagery of the green light at the end of Daisy's dock serves as foreshadowing for Gatsby's unattainable dreams and the corruption of the American dream. This symbolism reinforces the novel's themes of aspiration and disillusionment. Connecting plot and theme. Foreshadowing ensures that plot developments are aligned with thematic elements. By integrating hints about future events, authors can create a cohesive narrative that reflects and reinforces the story's central themes. Example, in Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale, foreshadowing is used to hint at the oppressive nature of the dystopian regime and the consequences of the characters' actions. These hints contribute to the novel's exploration of themes related to power, control, and resistance. Analyzing foreshadowing in practice. To analyze foreshadowing effectively, consider the following strategies. Identify clues. Look for instances where the narrative hints at future events or developments. Analyze how these clues contribute to the story's suspense and thematic depth. Evaluate integration. Assess how well foreshadowing is integrated into the narrative. Consider whether the hints are woven seamlessly into the plot and whether they enhance the overall coherence of the story. Interpret impact. Examine how foreshadowing affects readers' engagement with the story. Evaluate whether the hints create anticipation, deepen thematic elements, and contribute to the narrative's overall impact. Practice exercise. To practice analyzing foreshadowing, select a text and identify key instances where future events are hinted at. Discuss how these hints contribute to the story's suspense, thematic development, and overall structure. Consider how effective foreshadowing enhances the reader's experience and understanding of the narrative. Conclusion. Foreshadowing is a crucial narrative technique that enhances storytelling by creating suspense, reinforcing themes, and ensuring coherence. By subtly hinting at future events, foreshadowing engages readers and deepens their connection to the narrative. Understanding and analyzing foreshadowing allows readers to appreciate the intricacies of narrative construction and the skillful ways in which authors craft their stories. As we continue to explore narrative techniques, we will see how foreshadowing interacts with other elements, such as point of view and flashback, to create a rich and immersive reading experience. The interaction of point of view and foreshadowing. The interplay between point of view, POV, and foreshadowing is a critical aspect of narrative technique that shapes how a story unfolds and how readers engage with it. Both techniques contribute significantly to the narrative's depth and complexity, influencing the reader's understanding and anticipation of events. Understanding how these techniques interact helps in analyzing the overall impact of a story and appreciating the author's craftsmanship. Point of view and its influence on foreshadowing. Point of view determines the lens through which a story is presented, influencing how foreshadowing is revealed and perceived by readers. The effectiveness of foreshadowing is closely tied to the chosen POV, as it affects the distribution of information and the reader's engagement with the narrative. First-person POV and foreshadowing. In first-person narration, the story is presented through the eyes of a single character, offering an intimate view of their thoughts and experiences. Foreshadowing in this POV is often personal and subjective, reflecting the narrator's perspective and emotional state. Personal foreshadowing. Since readers are confined to the narrator's viewpoint, foreshadowing in first-person narration may be deeply tied to the narrator's inner thoughts and feelings. The clues provided are often filtered through the narrator's emotions, creating a sense of immediacy and personal stakes. Example: in Charlotte Perkins Gilman's The Yellow Wallpaper, the first-person narration provides intimate insight into the protagonist's deteriorating mental state. Foreshadowing is embedded in her observations and experiences, which hint at her eventual breakdown and the story's tragic conclusion. Limited perspective. The subjective nature of first-person narration means that foreshadowing may be limited to what the narrator knows or perceives. This can create a sense of suspense as readers are only aware of hints based on the narrator's limited knowledge. Example: in J.D. Salinger's The Catcher in the Rye, Holden Caulfield's first-person perspective offers foreshadowing through his personal reflections and interactions. The clues about his mental state and future actions are filtered through his subjective viewpoint, affecting how readers anticipate the story's developments. Third-person limited POV and foreshadowing. In third-person limited narration, the story is told from the perspective of one character at a time, providing insight into their thoughts and feelings. Foreshadowing in this POV can reveal hints about the character's future and the unfolding plot while maintaining a certain narrative distance. Focused foreshadowing. Third-person limited narration allows for focused foreshadowing by aligning the clues with the specific character's viewpoint. This perspective provides a balanced approach to hinting at future events while maintaining a connection to the character's experiences. Example: in Susan Collins's The Hunger Games, the third-person limited perspective follows Katniss Everdeen, allowing foreshadowing to be closely tied to her thoughts and perceptions. Clues about the challenges and conflicts she will face are revealed through her viewpoint, enhancing the reader's engagement with her journey. Controlled information. This POV allows authors to control the flow of information and manage suspense by revealing foreshadowing based on the character's knowledge and experiences. Readers are given selective hints that build anticipation and align with the character's development. Example: in J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter series, the third-person limited perspective provides foreshadowing through Harry Potter's experiences and observations. The hints about future conflicts and revelations are carefully integrated into his viewpoint, creating suspense and enhancing the narrative's impact. Third-person omniscient POV and foreshadowing. In third-person omniscient narration, the narrator has complete knowledge of all characters and events. This POV allows for comprehensive foreshadowing by providing insights into multiple characters' thoughts and future developments. Broad foreshadowing. The omniscient narrator can offer a wide range of foreshadowing, revealing clues about various plot threads and characters' fates. This perspective provides a rich and multifaceted view of the narrative, enhancing the reader's understanding of the story's complexities. Example: in Leo Tolstoy's War and Peace, the omniscient narrator provides foreshadowing that spans across different characters and events, offering a detailed view of the story's trajectory. The broad scope of foreshadowing enriches the narrative and prepares readers for the unfolding drama. Complexity and suspense. The comprehensive nature of omniscient narration allows for intricate foreshadowing that weaves together various plot elements. This can create a complex narrative structure and build suspense by hinting at multiple interconnected developments. Example, in George R.R. Martin's A Song of Ice and Fire series, the omniscient narrator offers foreshadowing that spans multiple characters and plot lines. This detailed foreshadowing enhances the complexity of the narrative and deepens the reader's investment in the story's unfolding. Analyzing the interaction. To analyze the interaction between POV and foreshadowing, consider how the chosen perspective influences the effectiveness of foreshadowing. Evaluate how the distribution of information and the focus of clues impact the reader's engagement and anticipation. Examine how different POVs shape the integration of foreshadowing and contribute to the narrative's overall impact. Practice exercise. To practice analyzing the interaction between POV and foreshadowing, select a text with a distinct narrative perspective and identify instances of foreshadowing. Discuss how the POV affects the presentation of clues and their impact on the reader's experience. Consider how the interaction between POV and foreshadowing enhances the story's suspense and thematic depth. Conclusion. The interplay between point of view and foreshadowing is a crucial aspect of narrative technique that shapes how a story unfolds and engages readers. By understanding how these techniques interact, readers can appreciate the complexity of storytelling and the skillful ways in which authors craft their narratives. As we continue to explore narrative techniques, we will see how POV and foreshadowing contribute to a rich and immersive reading experience, enhancing our understanding of the story's depth and intricacy. The role of flashback in narrative development. Flashback is a narrative technique that allows a story to revisit past events, providing context and depth to the characters and plot. By temporarily shifting the narrative to earlier moments, flashbacks offer insights into characters' backgrounds, motivations, and significant events that influence the present. This technique enriches the narrative by revealing crucial information that shapes readers' understanding of the story's dynamics. Understanding flashback. Flashback involves a deviation from the present narrative to explore past events. This technique can be used in various ways, each serving a different purpose in the story's development. Revealing character backstories. Flashbacks are often employed to provide background information about characters, helping readers understand their motivations, conflicts, and personal histories. By delving into a character's past, flashbacks illuminate their current actions and decisions, creating a deeper emotional connection. Example, in F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby, flashbacks are used to reveal Gatsby's past and his relationship with Daisy Buchanan. These glimpses into Gatsby's history provide context for his obsession with Daisy and his pursuit of the American dream. Explaining motivations and conflicts. Flashbacks can clarify why characters behave in certain ways or how past events have shaped their current conflicts. By providing historical context, flashbacks help readers understand the root causes of characters' struggles and motivations. Example, in Khaled Hosseini's The Kite Runner, flashbacks to Amir's childhood in Afghanistan provide crucial insights into his guilt and the fractured relationship with his father. These reflections help readers grasp the emotional weight of Amir's actions and the novel's central themes of redemption and forgiveness. Enhancing plot complexity. Flashbacks can add layers of complexity to the plot by revealing information that impacts the present storyline. By intertwining past events with current developments, flashbacks create a richer, more nuanced narrative. Example, in Margaret Atwood's The Handmaid's Tale, flashbacks to the protagonist Offred's life before the rise of the totalitarian regime offer critical context for understanding her current situation and the oppressive nature of the dystopian society. The impact of flashback on narrative structure. Flashbacks can significantly influence the structure and flow of a narrative, affecting how information is presented and how the story develops. Nonlinear storytelling. Flashbacks often contribute to a nonlinear narrative structure, where the story does not follow a straightforward chronological order. This approach can create suspense and intrigue by gradually revealing important details and allowing readers to piece together the story's full picture. Example: in William Faulkner's The Sound and the Fury, the use of flashbacks disrupts the chronological flow of the narrative, reflecting the fragmented and disjointed experiences of the Compson family. This technique deepens readers' understanding of the characters and their tragic downfall. Building suspense and dramatic irony. Flashbacks can build suspense by withholding information from the reader until a critical moment. By revealing past events at strategic points, flashbacks create dramatic irony, where readers know more about the characters' pasts than the characters themselves do about each other. Example: in Laura Hillenbrand's Unbroken, flashbacks to Louis Zamperini's experiences as a World War II prisoner of war provide context for his post-war struggles and redemption. The gradual revelation of his past adds depth to his character and heightens the emotional impact of his journey. Strengthening thematic elements. Flashbacks can reinforce and explore thematic elements by connecting past experiences with present conflicts and resolutions. By highlighting how past events influence current circumstances, flashbacks deepen the thematic resonance of the narrative. Example: in Toni Morrison's Beloved, flashbacks to Seed's experiences as an enslaved person reveal the haunting trauma that continues to affect her life. These insights underscore the novel's themes of memory, identity, and the enduring impact of slavery. Analyzing the use of flashback. To analyze the use of flashback in a narrative, consider the following. Purpose and effectiveness. Assess how flashbacks contribute to character development, plot complexity, and thematic exploration. Evaluate whether the flashbacks enhance readers' understanding and emotional engagement with the story. Integration and flow. Examine how seamlessly flashbacks are integrated into the narrative. Consider whether they disrupt or enhance the story's flow and how effectively they balance with the present storyline. Impact on reader engagement. Evaluate how flashbacks influence readers' perceptions and engagement with the narrative. Consider whether they create suspense, build empathy, or provide crucial context for understanding the plot and characters. Practice exercise. To practice analyzing flashbacks, select a text with notable use of this technique. Identify key flashbacks and discuss their impact on character development, plot structure, and thematic elements. Reflect on how these flashbacks contribute to the overall narrative experience and understanding. Conclusion. Flashback is a powerful narrative technique that enriches storytelling by providing context, depth, and complexity. By revisiting past events, flashbacks enhance character development, plot structure, and thematic exploration, creating a more engaging and nuanced narrative. Understanding the role of flashback allows readers to appreciate the intricacies of storytelling and the skillful ways in which authors craft their narratives. As we continue to explore narrative techniques, we will see how flashbacks interact with other elements, such as point of view and foreshadowing, to create a compelling and immersive reading experience. Integrating narrative techniques, analyzing their combined effect. Narrative techniques such as point of view, foreshadowing, and flashback are integral to storytelling, each contributing distinct elements to the narrative. However, their true power emerges when they are used in concert, enhancing the overall structure and impact of a story. Analyzing how these techniques interact provides deeper insights into the craftsmanship behind effective storytelling and the ways in which authors engage readers. Combining point of view with foreshadowing. The interaction between point of view, POV, and foreshadowing is a key aspect of narrative design. Each POV offers different possibilities for integrating foreshadowing, shaping how clues are presented and perceived. First-person POV and foreshadowing. In a first-person narrative, foreshadowing is deeply intertwined with the narrator's personal experiences and emotions. The subjective nature of this POV means that foreshadowing is filtered through the narrator's perspective, creating a unique blend of anticipation and personal stakes. Example: in Stephen King's The Shining, Jack Torrance's first-person narration provides intimate insights into his psychological state. Foreshadowing is embedded in his thoughts and observations, hinting at the impending horrors while reflecting his deteriorating sanity. Third-person limited POV and foreshadowing. This POV allows for a focused exploration of a single character's viewpoint while maintaining some narrative distance. Foreshadowing can be tailored to the character's perspective, revealing hints about future events in a way that aligns with their experiences. Example: in J.K. Rowling's Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, the third-person limited perspective on Harry's experiences provides foreshadowing through his observations and interactions. The clues about Voldemort's plans and the significance of the Half-Blood Prince are integrated into Harry's viewpoint, creating suspense and anticipation. Third-person omniscient POV and foreshadowing. The omniscient narrator can provide a comprehensive view of the narrative, offering foreshadowing that spans multiple characters and plot lines. This broad approach allows for intricate and interconnected clues, enriching the story's complexity. Example: in Leo Tolstoy's War and Peace, the omniscient narration includes foreshadowing that touches on various characters and future events. The detailed hints about the fate of different characters and the course of historical events enhance the novel's depth and coherence. Integrating flashback with other techniques. Flashbacks serve as a powerful tool for revealing past events and adding depth to the narrative. When combined with POV and foreshadowing, flashbacks can significantly impact the storytelling. Flashback and POV. The effectiveness of flashbacks can be influenced by the chosen POV. In a first-person narrative, flashbacks are presented through the narrator's recollections, adding personal depth. In third-person limited or omniscient POVs, flashbacks provide a broader context, revealing past events that influence the present narrative. Example: in The Kite Runner by Khaled Hosseini, flashbacks to Amir's childhood are presented through his reflective first-person perspective. These flashbacks offer crucial insights into his guilt and motivations, enhancing the narrative's emotional impact and thematic depth. Flashback and foreshadowing. Combining flashback with foreshadowing creates a layered narrative that reveals past events while hinting at future developments. This interplay deepens the reader's understanding of character motivations and plot intricacies. Example: in Beloved by Toni Morrison, flashbacks to Seed's experiences as an enslaved person provide context for her current struggles. Foreshadowing hints at the traumatic events that shaped her past, creating a powerful connection between her history and present actions. Analyzing combined techniques. To analyze the combined effect of these narrative techniques, consider how they interact to shape the story's structure, character development, and thematic exploration. Evaluate how the integration of POV, foreshadowing, and flashback enhances the narrative's depth and engages readers. Practice exercise. Select a text that employs multiple narrative techniques and examine how they work together. Analyze how the interaction of POV, foreshadowing, and flashback contributes to the story's complexity and impact. Reflect on how these techniques enhance the reader's experience and understanding of the narrative. Conclusion. The integration of narrative techniques such as point of view, foreshadowing, and flashback enriches storytelling by adding depth, suspense, and emotional resonance. Understanding how these techniques interact provides valuable insights into the art of narrative construction, allowing readers to appreciate the intricacies of effective storytelling. As we explore these techniques, we gain a deeper appreciation for the skillful ways in which authors craft their narratives, creating engaging and immersive reading experiences.